Moving to the next speaker, before moving to the next speaker, as you started to feel, the process started a long time ago. And we get some picture from Google, from the internet, and you can see the development. So as I said about the safety of the dam, the socioeconomic studies were not completed because the consultancy were not giving the opportunity to continue for whatever reason. But what you can see here is one picture from 2019 that, yeah, we just, as I said, get pictures from Google. 2019, you can see here, if you can count them, these are 8 bumps. But if you take a similar picture in 2020, myself as an engineer, I just was getting them, I was surprised that the 8 became 5. So as an engineer, I don't know how can you change the design during the construction. So that's just to show how challenging the issue of the calculations and the work of the technical team, at least the Egyptian technical team, but to highlight what is needed here. Speaking of the filling of the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, what is needed? The brothers in Ethiopia are proposing stages for the filling, what we call stage filling approach. So these are the stages. The first stage is to complete 4.9 PCM or billion cubic meter. And then the second, so that you can start the early generation. As you can see here, this line is the early generation, 2 pumps. And then you can move to the next, this is the first year. And then probably if this continue, I have different screen here. If this continue for the second year, then this is the first stage. So the first stage is the total of 18.4. We are not speaking about years, because there is a very common mistake in the media speaking about agreeing on 6 years and 3 years and 5 years. There is nothing called years in the entire negotiations. We are speaking about stages. One stage can be completed in 1 year and can be completed in many years, depending about the hydrological conditions. At least this is our understanding from the Egyptian side. And then you go to the second stage, which is adding 10.5 PCM, and then you go to the next one, adding another 2.4 PCM, and then you go to the fourth stage, adding 10 PCM, and then you conclude that by 11.3 PCM. So you complete up to level 632, and this is in total 60.6 PCM, and then you continue for the annual operation. So whatever you fill, you release, you fill and release, but you would like to operate the dam at that high level. So that's the Ethiopian expectation from the filling process. I just would like to introduce you to the step-by-step to the next technical presentation, but just giving you a very simple and graphical presentation of the challenge. I'm not really going to go in details. I will leave the simulation to my friend Hisham. But here, imagine this is the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam on the left side, and the High Aswan Dam on the right side. And what we are trying to do, again, I'm not representing any organization, so I'm responsible for myself, what I'm saying, that Egypt is trying to keep High Aswan at a high level to support the Ethiopian colleagues and friends to fill the dam. So because normally we are asked how Egypt in the downstream can support Ethiopia in the upstream. The water is coming from Ethiopia. If there is no High Aswan Dam, there is no resilience in Egypt. So any change in the volume of the water flowing from Ethiopia to Egypt will directly impact the Egyptians. So High Aswan Dam is the tool that's that we would love to use it also to enable the Ethiopian brothers to fill the dam as soon as possible. Yes, the technical Egyptian team wants to help the Ethiopian technical team to fill the dam as soon as possible. We are interested to help Ethiopia to generate hydropower. We are interested to help the Ethiopian people to get the electricity as soon as possible. If there is grid to transfer the electricity from the dam to the Ethiopian village. So we are interested to help seriously and honestly. So now Q1 is what's entering to the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, and Q2 is what's entering the High Aswan Dam. If the year is wet, so you have water above 49 PCM, 60, 65, whatever the number is, then we don't see a problem in the simulation. If you have less water around average, start to be a bit critical. But the critical time, what you always hear is the drought time and the prolonged drought. If you have drought for 4 years, 5 years, 6 years. Because at that time, whatever you are going to cut in Ethiopia is going to deplete High Aswan Dam. So when you see start increasing the volume here, decreasing the volume of High Aswan Dam. That's exactly what's going to happen in the prolonged drought period. So that's why we are always repeating the issue of drought and prolonged drought, and you hear it everywhere. And people are saying, even if the probability is low and the Egyptian team is very tough, very stressing about this point. Yes, because even if the probability is low, the effect and the impact on the Egyptians is huge. That's why even if the probability is low, you have to make sure, as you will get the numbers, exact numbers later on from Dr. Hisham. So that's what's going to happen to High Aswan Dam, which will make it almost not resisting any drought and variability in the drought. So you are reducing the resilience of High Aswan Dam. So if you are today have enough volume to protect the Egyptians, if this situation is happening, you don't have. You are sensitive to any change in the water that in the future. So, but this picture, I don't have to say it's always black like this one. It depends about the hydrology of the Blue Nile and the White Nile as well. It depends about the initial starting point of HUD. So if we have an agreement and we know when exactly Ethiopia is going to fill, it will help them more. Because you will try at that time, at that season, to keep High Aswan Dam as high as possible. But if you keep trying to keep it at a high level, you are also at risk. Because if the flood comes and it's at high level, you always suffer. So it is better for us, better for Ethiopia, better for Sudan to communicate and reach an agreement when exactly and what volume you are going to fill at what time. So that's are the issues. And also operation levels at Sudan, at what level they will be operating. After getting the flow regulated over the entire year, Sudan will operate the dams also at a higher level, which will increase the evaporation and will also reduce the volume, and also you can start abstracting more water. So all these are complicated because some people are saying the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam is going to reduce the evaporation because High Aswan Dam will be operated at a lower level, which will reduce the evaporation. Please. All the Sudanese dams will be operated at a higher level over the entire year, and this will increase the evaporation, plus at least 1.7 PCM from the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. So, sorry, Hashem. So now, the other point that was mentioned by Elko is very important. And here, if you have the two dams full, which we would love to have, we would like to collaborate to reach that, but during the drought time, you start releasing, and they will have to release to generate hydropower as well, because they are not building the dam for fun. They would like to generate hydropower. They will start release, and we will start release to compensate the prolonged drought period. So now we both are starting to release to reach, assuming this is a case that might happen in the future, both dams are reaching the shutdown level or the critical level. What will happen here? This is a very similar situation to the situation of today. Ethiopia is planning to fill. Now, your dam is empty. So this case is much worse than the first filling because you have zero resilience. Your dam is empty. You cannot support Ethiopia anymore. So any cubic meter that's going to be cut here is going to be cut from one Egyptian farmer. That's why we stress on the refilling as one of the negotiation points that we have to agree upon. So let me just put this for the sake of recognizing my colleagues who are really working day and night on this file. All of us are working under the Ministry of Water Resources, for irrigation and water resources, chaired by the Nile water sector, And we have, of course, Dr. Ahmed Baha, the chairman. We have Dr. Arif Garib, head of Regional Cooperation Center. The juniors, Dr. Engineer Mustafa and Engineer Luay Saifuddin. And of course, our senior technical expert, Professor Ala Zawahri from Cairo University, but all of them are presented today by my friend Dr. Hisham. So you have the floor, and I need you, before you start, to tell me why there is no multi-reservoir operation. This is just an publication I put for you here. I had a screenshot that all the conclusions and all the recommendations of all the journal publications are telling us to follow multi-reservoir operation. So you have the floor, and I will be enjoy listening to you. Thank you.